John, 1 sec. Okay.
Oh, sure. Oh, are we good, John? I'm sorry. I should have.
Yeah, you're all set.
We're all set. Do I have to do my intro again?
Mm-hmm.
I would, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'd like to call it 6 o'clock. So I'd like to call to order the Board of Education Budget, Finance, and Operations Committee meeting. As you may have noticed, Dawn was unable to make it to the meeting today, but she has provided the financial report, which everyone received. In the actual report itself, the couple items, big item to note is that we have already expended or encumbered $87,542,000 of our $102 million budget, which represents about 85.6% of our appropriation. You'll see, I mean, I don't need to go through and read it to everyone. Did anyone have a chance to look at it or have any very specific questions about the first 2 pages? I'm sorry, Rachel, go ahead.
Sorry, Ken. Yeah, I just had a quick question, and maybe if Dawn could get back to us for next time on food service. I know that we had an unbudgeted expense last year, so I was wondering if we were going to go over as well this year.
Rachel, I think I can answer part of that at least. There's certainly a chance, but right now, the fact that our children are in school all day, every day, no cohorting, that should alleviate some of the challenge. Right now, all of our children have the opportunity to receive a free school lunch. It's actually important just because I have a platform now. It's important that they actually, and I know this is going to sound awful, but that they select the entire lunch. So if they just pick the milk, unfortunately, they'll actually be charged for the milk. So they have to take the entire lunch, whether they want to eat what's on it or not. I'm sure some of our secondary kids are glad to share the extra burger, but they do have to take the entire lunch. So that given the fact that all of our K-12 is on that program now, we should not see the same issues that we had last year. Again, never say never, but given the fact that all of our children are in school, Rachel, we should be okay.
Okay, great. And then just in that same vein, I know like last year we had COVID expenditures, like the running list, and the ESSER and the CRF grants, we applied to some of those expenditures. I was wondering if we are currently awarded any here in Ridgefield, or can we expect any coming to cover any unbudgeted costs for this year?
So I can answer part of that. The reason we identified COVID expenses in our reporting last year was primarily because we had the non-lapsing fund and the Board of Finance requested it that way. I'm sure that Dawn has that information also. So if that's something that we want to have there, remember, we didn't budget for COVID expenses this year. In fact, I think that was one of the items that we took off. We originally did, and then we took it out of our budget when we had an additional cut that we needed to make. So we can certainly identify expenses that are related to COVID, but they would be coming out of our traditional budget, to be clear. The ESSER 3 grant, we do have that funding in place right now, but you might remember the way in which that grant was written was primarily for supporting students after the first assessment window, either virtually or physically, for additional time, so supplemental time and or bridge for this coming year. So that's where that money is. We could reallocate it in the event that we had a significant unbudgeted expense. We could reallocate that funding. I would have to write a narrative to the state and request the change. But right now, that's where that money is devoted.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions, Liz or Sean? All right. So on the actual ledger, the one thing that we want to point out is the new lines for athletics, and you'll see the athletics and the athletics revenue. Those are broken out that way to mirror how we're currently tracking the special ed. Because he does budget that $360,000 as part of his budget. And if for some reason his gate receipts don't equal that, the shortfall is going to have to be made up somewhere else in the budget. Very similar to the special ed, where if we don't get the ECR, the whole ECR, we're going to have to find that money from somewhere also. So we felt that that was the clearer presentation. And again, this is the first year we're doing this, so that may evolve. But for a starting point, we thought that this was the most transparent.
It makes sense. How are gate receipts? Are we tracking like 2019 or are we tracking like 2020?
Sean, I can get that information for you. I honestly don't have it, so I can, so hang on a minute, wait, I can answer that question now that
My hope is we got a lot of kids in the stands.
Yeah, let me just, now that I just heard you say it again. So we're definitely not tracking like 2020. That's the good news because our events are open. What that actually is in terms of a trajectory, I would need to circle back with you on that, which I'm glad to do.
Thankfully, a lot of people are going to the football games and they should continue to do so.
Yeah, I'm not concerned so much about the dollars as I am about the kids, and I want them in the stands and cheering on their friends, and to hear that they're doing that would make me happy.
Sean, you could be happy because they are definitely doing that.
Yep.
They are definitely doing that.
Anecdotally, I've heard that they've been well attended.
Personally, lots and lots of them are there, which is a good thing.
It's good. Very good.
There's nothing like fall football. It's whether your kid plays or not, it doesn't matter whether they cheer, whether they sing, it's just so good. And we've had great weather for it, so let's keep it going.
Yeah, started to get chilly today for sure.
A little bit.
All right. Well, the only other item on the agenda is just a very small update on the medical insurance increase for the upcoming budget year. I'm sure most of you remember we had a little back and forth with our insurance broker then the last year about sort of his windfall of savings suddenly as the budget had to be finalized. So they're working on getting a more concrete number and much sooner than previous years. So hope, I don't want to put any constraints on them, but definitely I think February is when we got it last year. So was it February, March, right?
Later, yeah, it was. Yeah. I think the 2 days before the Board of Finance meeting.
Yeah, which is way too late. So
it felt like a Seinfeld episode. All
right, so maybe we could do February. That would be good this year, or even maybe by the year end, if we push them, if we keep pushing them. So that's the update on that. And then as those numbers are finalized, I'm sure Don will share them. And are there any other questions about the financial report, or Rachel? Sorry.
And just really minute, but I think the dates on the chart, like under budget transfers and then adjusted budget, it should be 2021, 2022.
Okay.
I think, right?
Yeah, we'll have Don take. We'll have yes. I think they should. Yes.
Okay.
For sure. Those are.
Yeah, that
Those
looks like a
need to
mistake.
be updated.
The header is right.
Yeah, the header's right. Yeah, I think that's one of the first report of the year.
Yeah.
So it's like signing everything 2020 and for all through January.
Yeah.
I'll follow up with Dawn. She's at her daughter's graduation, but I will make sure she gets it on.
Definitely. All right, thank you, Rachel. Are there any other questions? Then I will officially adjourn the absolute shortest budget committee meeting. All right.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank
Ken.
you very much.
Thanks, Susie. Have a good night, guys.